Welcome to Oracle Data Integrator 11G video tutorials. In this session, we are going to discuss SCD Type-2 implementation in Oracle Data Integrator. In Type-2 slowly changing dimension, a new record is added to the table to represent the new information. Therefore, both the original and the new record will be present in the final dimension table. The new record gets its own primary key. For example, let us consider our example. So here, initially we have in employee table we have one record like for the employee Ram. So his salary is basically 3,000. So when the salary got changed to 4,000, you see two records inserted into your dimension. One is the old record, the other one is the new record. So for every change, basically in SCD Type2 we insert a new record into the dimension, and also for every new inserts in the source will also be inserted into the dimensions. The advantages with this approach is this approach allows us to accurately keep track of all historical information. So whenever you need to have a historical information in your dimension, you have to populate your dimension table with SCD Type2 implementation. Disadvantage is this will cause the size of the table to grow faster since you keep track history. In cases where the number of rows for the table is very high to start with, the storage and performance can become a concern. Surrogate key. Surrogate key is the substitution of primary keys in your source system. Basically, you in your dimension you will have an additional column called surrogate key, but you don't use your regular primary key as a primary key, but you use a surrogate key as an intelligent key or basically a primary key rather than the actual natural key. So basically it is just a unique identifier or number for each row that can be used as a primary key in the dimension table. The only requirement for a surrogate primary key is that it is unique for each row in the table, as there might be changes in your natural key. Data warehouse tables typically use a surrogate key concept for the dimension tables as a primary key. To generate the surrogate key values, basically they use sequence values, maybe the database sequence values or the inbuilt ETL functionality to generate these sequence values and to populate the surrogate key column of dimension. Generally, the natural key or primary key might change, and this makes like updates more difficult when you handle the dimension loading strategy. So you have to depend upon an intelligent key or additional surrogate key as a primary key. So every dimension structure will dimension table will have a specific structure which includes an additional columns like surrogate key and added columns. So let us have a look at employee dimension structure. So we have w underscore employee underscore d. Basically this is a dimension which basically supports both SCD type 1 and also SCD type 2. If you look at this structure, you have all the columns of regular EMP table like EMP NO, e-names, job, salary, manager, hire date, commission and department number, but you have some extra columns to support the SCD type 1 and SCD type 2 dimension loading strategies. So the first column is EMP underscore SK. Basically you need to populate this particular column EMP underscore SK with the help of sequences. Basically this is the primary key of the table and this is the surrogate key of this table. So we need to populate this column with the help of ODI sequences or the database sequences. So we will see how to populate this surrogate key with the help of ODI. And you can also observe that we have a column called record indicator. This record indicator indicates the status of the record, whether it is the latest record or old record. But in SCD type 1 this will be always 1 because we are not interested in tracking the record status of the table. and you have also effective start date. Effective start date indicates basically the creation date of the record, and effective end date basically indicates the update rate of the record. So let us see how to implement SCD type 1 strategy with the help of ODI. So we are going to now populate the W underscore employee ID dimension by extracting the records from EMP table, which is in the source application src underscore Scott. So let us connect to the ODI Studio and connect to the repositories and start populating the W underscore employee dimension by implementing the mapping interface in ODI.